Hi friends, welcome back. So if you've ever wondered what a bubble looks like, well, let me show you. This is Jensen Huang, CEO of Nvidia, and as you can see, he is signing a woman's breast. Not making it up. There's a signature right there, and there he is signing. And this was the post from Carnage for Life just 2 days ago. Bitcoin at 69,000, Roaring Kitty sitting on over 250 million in assets from GameStop stocks and options. And then there's Nvidia's CEO giving out autographs at Computex. It's 2021 all over again. And again, if you're curious what a bubble looks like, this is exactly what it looks like, a CEO acting like a rock star signing women's breasts. It's interesting because I mentioned before, guys, that this could be the top. Nvidia just started cooling off. And this is actually a day before the stock split. I think it's a 10-for-1 split. And we may look back in history and say, yep, that was definitely the top, the signing of the breast. So I can't make this stuff up. Okay, so the other thing that I want to talk about with the top is actually Jensen is selling. And this just came out just a few hours ago. You can see here June 6, 2024. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang to sell up to 735 million in stock. And I guess this is coming from an SEC filing. I'll show you guys kind of what we're talking about here. You guys remember we just talked about in the last video, Nvidia just passed Apple as being the number 2 company in the world. They might have fallen to number 3. I haven't checked, but I know the Nvidia stock was down today. So they're still neck and neck. The deal with Jensen, so this was back, I guess, a regulatory filing back on March 14th. And he registered to sell up to 600,000 shares, so quite a bit of shares. And he's got till, I guess, March 31st, 2025 to do this. Someone asked me, or asked, I should say, not asked me specifically, but asked in the comments, like, how do CEOs sell stuff without insider trading, etc. Essentially what they do these kind of filings. They'll say, hey, we're going to plan to sell stocks or whatever, or exercise our options in the future, this kind of stuff, right? So they how you get away from insider trading if you're not doing it is you just schedule things in advance and you say, oh, see, this is all part of the plan. And I will say, yes, there still can be shady things going on, but it's hard to control this kind of stuff because if you're on the inside, like, you literally have knowledge of things that us on the outside don't have. But the basic gist of insider trading would be I'm acting on knowledge that's not available to the public. So again, that's why you would register this stuff early, and you guys can make it that as you will. The other thing too, which I want to mention as well, which I thought was kind of interesting because we've seen these like crazy moves in Nvidia stock. You guys know this. Was it at like 1,100 or 1,200 right now? But I guess Nvidia has been buying back shares, and it was saying here, Nvidia bought back 2.3 million shares for 2.1 billion at an average price of $913, and that was from April through May. But I guess they've slowed their purchasing because it also says here from March 25th to April 28th in the fiscal quarter, Nvidia bought 4.2 million shares at 3.7 billion, the average price of 875, right? So they're buying, you can see here, they're buying 4 million shares in like March to April, and then they slow down their buybacks from April to May. So it's kind of interesting how they're putting more money into pumping up their own stock, and then the CEO is scheduling to sell. So I just want to show you guys this stuff, and moreover, this is also coming at a time when the government is closing in on Nvidia. Not making this up. This just came out June 6, 2024. Like, all this timing to me looks like top. You got signing of the breast, you got the CEO, and I really said that. You got the CEO selling stock, and now you got the government doing an investigation, or they say opening is what it says. Microsoft, OpenAI, and Nvidia investigated over monopoly laws, and they're going to open an inquiry. The basic gist of this, I read through the thing, is like the FTC, the Department of Justice, etc., and they were figuring out, okay, who's going to go after which company. Because this is just, unfortunately, and this is my opinion, and you guys can have yours, is the government is underpersoned, understaffed. When it comes to all of the companies out there, or be it all of your scammy YouTubers out there, there's just not enough people to investigate all the things that are going on all the time, and so then they have to figure out how to allocate resources, right? So what's going on, and I'll read through the details because I think it's good to get this stuff like exactly right. But I'll just give you a gist of it. Is are these companies doing business practices that are unfair to competition? Are they locking consumers or customers, right? However you want to say it, into their into their ecosystem. And so, example would be like Microsoft bakes AI into their operating system, and then you're forced to use OpenAI, right? Or Bing, forces you to use ChatGPT, this kind of stuff. Apple could theoretically do the same thing. That's come under scrutiny before, where say Apple forces you to use, Google, not forces you, but makes Google the default search engine, right? And so then other search engines are at a disadvantage. And then, Nvidia, are they doing the same kind of practices to where, they make you buy their chips and their software products, et cetera, and you can't really change things in and out, and it kind of locks out, say, something like AMD out of the product cycle. So for those of you who are in this space, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Like, hey, yes, Nvidia totally does competitive practices, and they kind of force you into their ecosystem, et cetera. Or you say, no, this is totally fair. I can use, Nvidia software with AMD hardware, right? You guys get my point on this stuff. So let's read some of the details of this stuff. Like, again, I think this is an important story. And again, if you're curious what a bubble looks like, this is what it is. It says here, federal regulators have reached a deal that allows them to proceed with antitrust investigations into dominant roles of Microsoft, OpenAI, and Nvidia. And you're also talking about AI stuff. In the strongest sign of how regulatory scrutiny into powerful technology has escalated. The Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission struck a deal over the past week. So they've been doing this, figuring out who's going to go talk to who. And expected to be completed in the coming days, according to two people. Under the arrangement, the Justice Department will take the lead in investigating whether the behavior of Nvidia, so the DOJ is going after Nvidia, the biggest maker of AI chips, has violated antitrust laws. And this is interesting that the Justice Department is going after Nvidia here. So is Nvidia doing antitrust stuff, right? The people said the FTC will play the lead role in examining the conduct of OpenAI, which makes ChatGPT chatbot, and Microsoft, which has invested over $13 billion in OpenAI, talking about a lot of money here, and made deals with other AI companies, that people said. So the FTC is going to be going after ChatGPT and Microsoft, and the Justice Department is going after Nvidia. And it's interesting that they divided it up that way. Also says here, and I'm a big fan. I'll say it before, and I'll say it again. I'm a big fan of Lena Khan and what she's doing over the FTC. I honestly wish we had more people like this in government, and you can find my video on her. And if you guys have been following the channel, you'll know I'm a big fan. And you're like, why? I'll just tell you, 2 words: Live Nation. So they're going after Live Nation, but they're going after other things. And these are the kind of things that I think is healthy for any market or any economy, is when you have multiple companies that can compete, opposed to one company that just dominates, buys out their competitors, or prices things, like, after you control the market, right? Prices things to where, like, you have no other choice. I think just you guys watching the channel, you understand why monopolies aren't healthy, and you need people like to be looking out for the regular consumer. But I understand from the monopolist point of view. You're like, no, I want my Nvidia stock to go to the moon, and screw all the other AI companies or chip companies. But I just don't think that's healthy. So we'll see what they find here. But don't mess with Lena is my point of view on this. So actually, I will say this: Nvidia dodged a bullet with Lena going after, and the FTC going after OpenAI and Microsoft, and then DOJ is going after Nvidia here. So anyways, this is Lena Khan said in February interview that when it came to AI, the agency was trying to spot, quote, potential problems at the inception rather than years and years and years later, when problems are deeply baked in and much more difficulty to rectify, right? So get it early opposed to waiting too long. And then it says here, spokeswomen for the FTC and the Justice Department declined to comment. Okay. Microsoft, OpenAI didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. A representative for Nvidia declined to comment. So no one is making any comments on this stuff. Of course, this is highly sensitive issues. We're talking about a lot of money and essentially the hottest companies out there: Microsoft, OpenAI, Nvidia. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. We'll read a little bit more. It says here, industry players have grown worried about Nvidia's dominance. 2 people with knowledge of concern said. It says here, including how the company's software locks customers into using its chips, so I was telling you guys about, as well as how Nvidia distributes those chips to customers. So we're going after a couple different things, right? Again, how customers are locked into their chips, and how Nvidia like, how do they send it out to their customers? Is there a sort of monopoly practices with that? I don't work in this space, and so that's why I asked for help in the community. We have a lot of smart people in the community, and a lot of people who are involved in this kind of stuff. The question would be like, when you get the chips, like, do you have to make any deals to get said chips or whatever like that? Or I gave you an example in the situation of, say, Tesla. Remember, guys, Elon Musk said, hey, Tesla wants a bunch of your chips, Nvidia. And then the report came out that they're diverting the Tesla chips over to XAI. So I wonder if there's something like the way that the reservations work, or the way that things are shipped. There's something funky going on with that. So let me know, guys, if you guys have any info on that. I think it's a really, really good topic. But yeah, Nvidia, again, locking people into your ecosystem, and then how you distribute said things. Also says here, Microsoft, the world's most valuable public tech company, has also become a leading purveyor of artificial intelligence. It owns 49% of OpenAI, which vaulted public consciousness, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Microsoft has woven OpenAI's AI technology into its own products, as I was telling you about before. AI now generates answers for its users in a search engine Bing, and can help build presentations and documents in PowerPoint and Word. The New York Times has sued OpenAI and Microsoft, claiming copyright infringement of news content related to AI systems. So the issue would be here, and we're talking about, say, Bing, would be like, then if Microsoft is choosing OpenAI to be default in Bing, or not even default, just the only choice in Bing, then that means if you're also in this space. So to be fair, say to Elon Musk and XAI, he would have a complaint. He'd be like, well, my consumers, my company's never going to see the light of day if someone's on a PC, something like that. So I think in the argument for Microsoft and OpenAI, they would say, well, you're stopping innovation if you don't let us integrate products, right? We're trying to do something revolutionary. If you guys remember, if you've been following the whole new Microsoft Windows thing, it's going to be able to have all of your history of everything you searched, and it can search all through your images and stuff like that, and then it's kind of offer you suggestions, or you can find things faster. I think the downside of that, I think you already know this. It's like, do you really want everyone to know, let's put it nicely, what kind of things that you like to look at 2 a.m. in the morning? and you guys can read that any way that you want, right? It depends on what you look at 2 a.m. in the morning, but you guys get my point in this is making those kind of records and searchable easily on your computer. And not only that, the computer making suggestions based on what you're searching at 2 a.m. in the morning. And it's kind of funny when I think about that stuff, because you guys know this. If you use the internet at all, or use any of the social media, for example, let's say I'm shopping for shoes, and then I go to my Facebook or Instagrams or Twitters or YouTubes or whatever. Suddenly I have all of these videos and posts all related to shoes, because it knows what I've been searching for. So I've always found that a bit creepy about the internet. And I mean, it is what it is. That's just how our whole thing works. But imagine if that's even more baked in, and the AI is trying to figure that stuff even more. So that's what's going on with that. I think that is a major story. And also too, covering the quote bubble. I guess Roaring Kitty is going to be doing a live stream on YouTube. If you're into that stuff, you can watch it. I'll probably look at a couple minutes of it. I'm just not really interested in myself. I'm just not. The interesting thing about Roaring Kitty, though, is the questions is he manipulating the market or not? Now, to argue that he's manipulating the market, and there was an article in the Wall Street Journal today. It was talking about whether or not they're going to prosecute him, look at him, etc. The key thing that they mentioned is he saying anything that is untrue or deceptive, right? That would be a key thing. And the guy talking about Roaring Kitty, or Keith Gill's the name, I don't think he lies. That's my understanding of it. I don't think he makes anything up. Before with the whole GameStop thing, he was saying, "Hey, look at I think there's I think there's some crazy numbers going on with the short interest, right? That kind of stuff." The one thing that was always a little bit what's our word to say it, gray area. That's a good way to say it about Keith Gill. When he was questioned by regulators, he was just I just like the stock. Can't I just buy something because I like it? And I always think that was a really interesting gray area, because it's hard to, can you dispute whether or not someone likes a stock, right? And so as long as he's not saying anything deceptive or false, I'm not going to make a ruling. I'll just say he'll try to evade trouble that way. He updated his, what do you want to call it, disclaimer on his YouTube, and we'll see how many people tune into this thing and whether or not it moves, GameStop. The stock has been going up like crazy again lately. The past month you can see is up 152%. It was actually hit a high of 50. That was like was that a month ago already or something like that? Was it May 13th? So yeah, almost a month ago, and it's going up again. So do I have any predictions for this thing? I'll just say, oftentimes for this stuff, it's buy the rumor, sell the news, and this could end up being like a Elon Musk, Dogecoin situation. So we'll see. But people are, he's a smart guy, so he's probably very conscious of what he can say and what he can't say. And I'll throw something else out there, which I think is important to note. Regarding Tesla, they actually have SEC filings all the time because they're under scrutiny carefully by the SEC. And a board member and important figure, James Murdoch, I think we're voting on him and then Elon Musk's brother. And he is the Murdoch related to Rupert Murdoch over at Fox News. He actually exercised some stock options. This is on June 3rd, 2024. I have a feeling the pumper channels of Tesla will not talk about this story. It's 250,000 shares. I don't know if he's selling. I just can't tell. It just says code M, so I think he's exercised, or code A. He acquired these things. So I don't know if he's selling, but the timing of it would be like if he's, how about this? If you're worried that the stock's gonna, crash on Elon Musk's vote, then now would be the time to get it, and so you could, sell it before the said vote. So we'll see. But I don't, you have to ask James of what he thinks he's doing. So anyway, so that's the news of the day. Love to hear your thoughts. I honestly think the Nvidia one is a very, very important story. I think people will probably start figuring out the next couple of days, like, oh my God, this is actually pretty serious. I remember DOJ's after the Nvidia, and then FTC's going after Microsoft and OpenAI. But it's just an open inquiry, so there's not necessarily any sort of crimes or anything like that. Just they're looking into it. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll catch you on the next video.